Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Frequency Factor podcast. I'm super excited about this interview because Christine and I have been friends for a few years now, and she's one of these people that I just looked up to you, and I'm so grateful for our friendship. So today I just wanted to ask you, about your story. Everybody has a story. So tell me a little bit about your story.
Well, Kelly, thanks. And first of all, I want to return the compliment. And you're a great friend, and it's been a pleasure to know you and an honor. And thank you. And, we met when you were first cabinet secretary and had this vision for a youth conference. And, that's expanded into other things, but you were a great inspiration as well. Thank you. And yeah, so my story, I really begins, and we don't want to go too far back because I got a lot of youth behind me.
It's
Well,
all
okay,
good.
I won't go too far. But, really, it was for me beginning as a 20-year-old coming out and teaching on Navajo and working with kids in Indian country and learning about Native people. And I went back to New York where I was born and raised several times, but I couldn't stay there. I felt like I had to keep coming back here to New Mexico and coming back to work with Native people. It felt like a calling.
Mhm.
It felt like a purpose.
Yeah.
And so over the years, I taught in different schools. I was at Santa Fe Indian School, and then I was an administrator. And at some point in the 80s, I thought, well, I really, I have something that I want to give, and I want to do it in my way.
Yeah.
And so I started a business called Sundance Educational Consulting and began running all over myself, doing workshops out on Hopi and out in Navajo and Apache area. And then after a while, it got bigger and bigger. So I ended up hiring people to provide their talent and their expertise and share that with people because I only had so much I could offer.
Right.
But there are so many other people that have more depth and experience. So I ended up being more of a coordinator.
Mhm.
And we're sitting here today at a conference with about 500 people from 40 schools
Yeah.
all over New Mexico, Arizona. Miss Indian World is here from California, and
Mhm.
we have Native American pianist who flew in from New York City, who's studying to get her PhD in musicology.
Wow.
And so for me, my purpose and where I find myself now, being the center of an opportunity to provide a space
Mhm.
for people to gather. And I feel like that's what I can offer, and I'm happy to.
Yes, I love it. You're really a great network. You do that. You bring people from all walks of life together, regardless. I follow you on Facebook, and so I see now and again you'll post family pictures, and you'll post different things about your mother and your father, and I love how that love for your parents it just flows through, and I appreciate that. And also, one of the things that I really appreciate is that you have this great love for, not only family, but projects and all these different things. And with that, that's a great segue into introducing Roger here. I got to meet Roger a few years ago at one of these conferences as well. And I think what's fascinating about what you do is you do a few things. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Right. Well, here at the workshop, I've been teaching some exercises from the martial arts, Tai Chi Chuan, and yoga. So I've been doing that for really 50 years. So I'm just sort of sharing that and getting a very positive response from, I first started teaching that at the Santa Fe Indian School,
Yeah.
a long time ago. But most recently, the most kind of transformational experience has been working up in South Dakota with Lakota tribes, both Pine Ridge and now Rosebud.
Mhm.
And we're working on community development. I have some skills in the area of grants writing. So I'm working with Lakota Women Business. I understand you might be um, interviewing my partner there, my business
Yes.
partner,
Yes.
and Tamara stands and looks back spotted tail. So, yeah, we've been working together on community development, on low cost, affordable housing that's super insulated because the winters are so cold, 50 below zero up
Oh
there
my
a couple, 3 or
goodness.
4 weeks ago. So there's a great need. There's a crisis for housing there
Yeah.
and well built, sustainable housing that has a greenhouse and can be built with earthen block materials that are right there on the res. So
Yeah.
it drops the cost and it enables more participation by the local workforce. So it creates jobs in homes.
Mhm.
So that's been a big focus for us.
Yeah.
And I've also enjoyed participating in some of the ceremonies there, the Sundance naming ceremonies, and I'm working on language revitalization with Henry Quickbear, who's a serious medicine man up there from
Hmm.
St. Francis. So it's been quite an experience. It's a very powerful culture,
Yeah.
and just to kind of witness and participate when possible, it's been quite a positive.
Great. Thank you for sharing a little bit about your latest projects. So, Roger, what inspires you?
Well, curiously, I mean, I used to read about Crazy Horse and Spotted Tail and the Stanza Looks Back. I used to read these stories to my kids,
Hmm.
and to find myself, you know, working with the direct descendants is like mind blowing for me.
Yeah.
It's like I never would have imagined this opportunity.
Yeah.
And the history, Black Elk, is great medicine man and healer. So these were very inspirational figures for me,
Hmm.
and it's quite something to be sharing the time and space with their direct descendants,
Yeah.
and they're all working to improve conditions out
Yes.
there.
Thank
So that's huge inspiration.
thank
Yeah.
you. We find a lot of times inspiration from books, and you're spot on with that. Joe and I have been reading the Apache Wars, and that was a 20-year war, and it's a long book, but it's been amazing when we've traced, his lineage back to Victoria and where they had the reservation, and then because they wouldn't comply, and there was silver in the hills, then they were moved to San Carlos. And as a native person listening to this from actual diaries and, journals and such is, you know, it
Yes.
it
Yes.
made me mad, but then I thought, you know what? What are we gonna do about this? How can
Yes.
we change this? Okay. So Christine, I just want to know what inspires you.
For me, it's really the kids.
Hmm.
And this conference that we're doing right now, where the kids are coming forward with their dance and their music and their performances and thinking about them in the future. I guess what I've been thinking about is how do we provide positive role models for kids?
Yeah.
Where are they in the community? And when we put these events on and so forth, people kind of come to me.
Hmm.
I don't go looking for them. I just run across them and then I say, hey, come on out. You're doing great stuff. This Renata Yazzie getting her PhD and so forth. These kids are in there playing piano.
It's
And they
amazing.
had none of them, they did a little poll at the beginning. None of them has ever played or touched the piano.
Wow.
And there's about 50 kids in there right now. And they were circled around in a group watching her play and learning basic. So, having an opportunity for us to really work with the kids and thinking about what they can do in the future
Yeah.
to help communities like those up in Lakota country and out on Navajo and all of these areas. I think I'm inspired by that about what the future can bring and
Yeah.
what we can offer.
That is amazing. And I appreciate you sharing that because a lot of times when we look for inspiration, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's right in front of us, and we sometimes can't see that. And I also appreciate that you guys would sit with me and do this. This means so much to Joe and I. This is our new endeavor, and we just want to bring people's stories to others to inspire them. That's the reason I ask, what inspires you? Because something that you're doing just might be the catalyst for change for somebody out there that might be struggling or maybe go, oh man, I don't know if I have the courage to do that or whatever. So with that, what would you want your legacy to be?
That's a good question. I mean, we have a son who's getting married here in another month or so, and 2 months. And, he at this point is already a wonderful legacy in terms of the person he is
Yeah.
and the way he handles his life and how he treats other people. And so I think first and foremost, Bob and I would love, to see him go forward and continue to flourish and succeed. And in terms of all of the people in all of the schools, we've been to hundreds of schools, met with thousands. You've helped us out with wonderful workshops for parents, and they will never forget those, including the ones you're doing today. And I know that, it for me will be the people like yourself and others who are younger that will go on and maybe have learned something from what we've done with Sundance and transitions and continue to do the work. And I hope I will have had a part in helping to teach or show the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you have. And I was like, I'm the host. I can't get emotional.
Well, looking at you, it's easy to do, Kelly.
Yes.
We have a lot of history, and
Yeah,
you've been a wonderful teacher to me as well. So, and I appreciate all.
Yes, well, thank you. So, not to leave Roger out. So, Roger, what would you want your legacy to be?
Well, I think family is key. I have two daughters and a son, a couple of granddaughters. So I'm really looking at building houses out there in South Dakota and really training people to do that is, particularly Native Americans, that local Lakota folks that there's a lot of unemployment and
Yes.
there's people, these are jobs for people to do and it sort of meets that crisis of housing. So that and working with and require the language is also at a crisis point. Most of the Lakota is spoken by older adults, not the younger. So he's really working on a school for language. So
Okay.
I'm hope to help him with that. And he's, very well prepared and studied, to work with many different groups, age groups from preschool to older adults. And so there's a great opportunity for success and to recover the Lakota culture vibrant and alive because everything has to do with language, culture and spirituality and
Yeah.
the whole history. It's all tied in with it. Right.
And so, who would have thought of these two white kids from New York would have ended up having the privilege of working in Native American communities? And it really has been an honor and a privilege to be welcomed into these communities for so many years and to be trusted.
Yes.
And to be trusted. And
That's huge.
We do what we can and something that go on.
Well, and I appreciate that because we're the high vibe tribe. We look at helping others to raise their frequency. That's how we know. That's how we recognize like-minded, like-hearted people because we're on that same frequency. We can do that. So on that note, how can we, if somebody out there wants to know more about perhaps the housing part of it, Roger, how do we get a hold of you?
Through LakotaWomenBusiness.com.
Okay.
Yeah, and Tamara stands and looks back. Spotted Tail is the owner and director. I work with her, and her projects include both native crafts. She's a great jeweler and artist, but the focus is really on community development and the housing thing, which we like to expand because it's a concept for low cost, affordable housing, and it's also very adapted to the climate out there. Where a lot of people suffer cold weather.
50 below.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would want to get something that's sustainable and warm and cool in the summer, right?
Exactly.
So, Christine, if anybody out there is really interested in attending one of the conferences or perhaps having Sundance or transitions come out to their schools, how do we get a hold of you?
So that would be through Sundance Educational Consulting and Transitions, and our website is www.sec.inc.com. SEC for Sundance Educational Consulting. And then there's a button on there for transitions, which we're also building. And we'd love to have people who are interested in Native-owned business projects. And hopefully we'll do another one of these next year. Right now we're planning to do that, but it depends on how well the back holds up after this one. But we are tentatively planning that, but we do go out with schools all over the Southwest on request, and a lot of schools are requesting that now. So we're available to bring workshops in.
Perfect. Awesome.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. I appreciate your time and your friendship and just you as people. I just adore each of you. So thank you so much.
Likewise. Thank you. Can I give you a hug? All right.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Kelly.
All right.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.